Welcome to Chalk Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the topics that matter most to family-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, and anyone navigating the complex world of business leadership. I'm Tiffani Carter, here with Rory Sheppard, and we're excited to bring you insights, strategies, and discussions that reflect the very essence of what we do here at ActionCOACH of West Texas. Rory, today's topic is something one of my favorite topics, because people are either heavy in conflict or conflict adverse, but we would say conflict is necessary. Why is conflict necessary?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Most of us have an aversion to conflict, and we kind of want to stay away from it. We've all been told, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, don't create something that could generate some conflict. And I think we have a conflict has gotten a pretty bad rap. But in fact, conflict is necessary to get the best ideas, the best solutions, the best process. If we all just, go along to get along, I think we end up selling ourselves short in creating subpar solutions because we won't engage in just a little bit of conflict, because it can get a little bit ugly or a little bit sticky or a little bit uncomfortable, right? It doesn't even have to be ugly. Maybe I started with the wrong word. Maybe it's just uncomfortable, or even the idea of it is uncomfortable. And so we back off and say, I just won't say anything. I won't do anything. I won't take that action, whatever that is. And so we talk about Patrick Lencioni quite a bit on this podcast, but if we go all the way back to one of his books from close to 20 years ago now, of the Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and just think about that, one of the key foundational pieces after trust is this idea of conflict. And in that book, he draws out a conflict continuum that says on either end of the spectrum, on either end of the continuum, is really negative conflict. So if you could just imagine a line going, from one end to the other, and on either end of it can be negative conflict. One end of it being that harsh, mean-spirited, hateful language where we're talking bad about people. And that's that conflict that we don't like, where we get into name calling, we get into those the political games or whatever that is, where we're manipulating others. And so that conflict feels pretty negative. But then on the other end, and this is a surprise to many people, on the other end is also negative. And it's when we don't say anything. And it's in his books, he calls that artificial harmony.
Right.
We're pretending to get along. We've got an acronym called NICE, which is nothing inside me cares enough. And so I don't say anything because nothing inside me does care enough. And I just go, it's not worth it to put myself in a potential moment of conflict. So I'm just not going to say anything. And that artificial harmony is just as destructive, or maybe in some cases could be even more destructive than that harsh, ugly, mean-spirited side, the other end of the spectrum. So then where is good conflict? What is this thing that we say conflict is necessary?
Right.
And that's in the center of the continuum, and that's constructive conflict. But that's conflict that's not about people, but it's conflict around ideas, concepts, processes, strategy. It's around things, not people. And if I go there and we have constructive conflict, we will get a better idea. We'll get a better solution. We'll have a better strategy if we say, I love what you just did there, but, right? Or I love that idea, and I think we could add this to it to make it better. But how do we stay in that centerpiece around ideas, processes, concepts, strategies? Because what will happen is if we don't have that conflict there about the things, we're going to walk out of the meeting room. We're going to walk out into the parking lot. We're going to walk to the break room. And I'm going to say, can you believe that stupid idea that Tiffani had? And even though it sounds like I'm talking about the idea, it's moved from the idea to
Right.
Tiffani, right? And so I've created that negative far end, that harsh and mean-spirited language kind of idea. I just did it outside of the meeting instead of inside of the meeting.
Right.
But if we don't handle the concept, it's going to go to the people on one end or the other, right? So where I'm apathetic, that artificial harmony, or I use the language about you when you're not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of those is constructive. And so I want
Right.
to
We see organizations all day, every day fall on the apathetic side, and they would say they're doing good.
Yes.
Right. But it is actually, right. We both love sports. We love sports in this firm, right? We see it happen with great sports teams because they're apathetic. I like something you said there, Rory, and it's something we really work to follow, which is yes, and my natural inclination, our natural inclination is to go, yes, but, and when I use the word but, I'm telling them that idea isn't good. Right. But when I say yes, and let's add on to that with this, it gives people freedom to start putting ideas out there.
Yeah. Very critical as a brainstorming technique. So if I'm creating new solutions or creating a strategy on how to attack something, it should be an and, not a but. Because to your point, it does stop me, and I say, well, you just discredited my idea, so I may not say anything else. But if we continue to add on to an idea, it can get better. And we have to stay there, and we have to stay in conflict longer. So I've been coaching and teaching leaders on that topic for a very long time, is that conflict is not negative. I just need to stay in, as long as it's in that healthy, constructive zone. Right. I may need to stay in conflict longer to get to the right solution, to get to the best solution. Because if I stop as soon as conflict happens, I lose the opportunity to have an even better solution.
I love it. The best solution for now.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. I love it. Anything else on conflict?
Well, there's a lot, right? And so I think, for today, we can probably stop here. We will probably talk for the rest of our careers about conflict. But, just a couple of pieces for everybody to remember is that, we've got to stay in conflict long enough so that we get the best solution that we can move forward with.
I love it. If you're in an organization, whether it be a nonprofit board, for-profit, family unit, family business, right? We hear that a lot about conflict in family organizations, but right, contact us, let us know. We want to hear from you. If you have a burning question or a topic you'd like us to explore, don't hesitate to reach out. Your insights and challenges are what drive this podcast. We'll see you next time on Chalk Talk.
And remember, only action gets you closer to your dreams. So do something today that your future self will thank you for.